Welcome to Wall Pass Wednesday here on Soccer's Morning Show. John here, you there, and Jarrett coming up in just a little bit. Here's your traffic. Trying to bring in Bart Keeler earlier than normal because of the lead story and wanted to get his input on it. Dylan Butler is, with his time with Varsity Media, he is a game-time decision, and we'll find out what Dylan thinks about what's coming on. It is a midweek whip-around. There was Champions League yesterday. There's that audio that we're going to get into, and there's after effects of all of that. So we've got the audio. We'll play the audio. Jurgen Klopp has had a response today. We'll play that, and it opens the door. And it really opens the door, even though he says he doesn't want to open a door. It opens the door. Jarrett, welcome back. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So before we get into that audio, opening kickoff this morning, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code for those of you who are watching, not just on Twitch, but on the 280-character app and on the Facebook. And what you can do with our friends at Kickoff Coffee, and thank you for everyone who has kicked off your day with Kickoff Coffee. See what I did there? You can use the code SoccerDownHere15, get 15% off of your purchase. Then they, in turn, take 10% reinvested into youth initiatives and the youth game. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Morning Five Stripe. Have you heard, not just about the lonesome loser, Jared, but have you heard about what's going on in Chicago because of a game that is happening this weekend?
Yes, I have.
So, actually, it's today. So I'm a little ahead of myself. Michelle Kaufman, Miami Herald. All 61,500 tickets have been sold for the Inter-Miami match on the road against Chicago Fire. Remains to be seen whether all the Soldier Field seats will be filled, as more than 50,000 of those tickets were purchased before Lionel Messi was injured in early September. In fact, according to the Chicago Tribune, the Fire had sold nearly 10,000 tickets for its match against Inter-Miami before the June 7 announcement. And by the end of the day, they had sold nearly 10,000 more. Cheapest tickets listed during the summer were in the $250 range. Best seats more than $3,000. Now, with the uncertainty of Lionel Messi, ticket prices on the secondary resale market have plunged. Upper-level seats at the Spaceship are now as low as $30. So the Chicago Fire, acknowledging folks bought tickets to see Messi and friends, anticipating no-shows, send out this message offering rewards for fans who show up. Quote, the Chicago Fire are excited to host Inter-Miami CF at Soldier Field this week. While we don't yet know the official status of Lionel Messi's availability for our match tomorrow, as there's never a guarantee that an athlete will play on any given night due to several factors. We understand that many of our fans may be disappointed if they don't get the chance to see him play. We realize there'll be many in attendance who are coming to a Chicago Fire match at Soldier Field for the first time. We're excited to welcome them to the Fire family. To show our appreciation, the Chicago Fire will be offering a $250 account credit toward new memberships for the 2024 season, or a $50 account credit for anyone unable to use the new member credit to all single game ticket buyers who attend our match versus Inter-Miami, regardless of which players are able to make an appearance on the pitch. Messi's status remains day-to-day, much like the rest of us. Tuesday, Tata Martino was asked to give updates on Campana and Messi.
He's not going to do that.
Yeah, he's like, so Tata said Campana would not be on the roster with the slight leg injury that he got Saturday and would continue to be evaluated ahead of the home match with FC Cincinnati. As for Messi, the coach repeated, once again, this is Michelle Kaufman. Coach repeated what he's been saying for the past few weeks, that the Argentine star's game availability would be based on how he feels after training and the advice of medical staff. Messi's missed 4 of Miami's last 5. The team is 0-2-2. Tata said, quote, it is a scar that is in danger of opening up and becoming a more serious problem. More technical details I do not know. Jordi Alba expected back for the Charlotte game October 18. So, Jared, I ask you,
that's my favorite part, by the way. Charlotte's just had like a tough year for the most part.
Yes.
It's been really inconsistent. I still think Christian Latanzio is higher on that firing chart maybe than others do.
Yep.
But like Charlotte's kind of had a tough year, and now like you're one of your better attacking weapons is talking about wanting to go back to Europe, and then you might have to play like close to full strength Miami. You might have to be the first one to do it because sometimes the universe just doesn't break in your favor, and that appears to be Charlotte's lot in life during the 2023 season.
Yes. Gaston Duel, our friends at TIC, said Messi will not play against Chicago Fire next Saturday. Is the last game before the Argentine national team games. They're pointing to that game for him to get in some minutes. So I ask you, is what the Chicago Fire doing good business or desperately trying to hold on to $9.5 million?
Can I cop out and say both?
Sure.
Because I agree, like with Bam's point, like it's good marketing. You're building a positive relationship with newcomers, which is good because Chicago's been a fire for a long time.
Yes.
Like 2017 and Veljko Paunovic and Alexander Katai were a long ass time ago, y'all. It's 6 years now, going on 7 years. They haven't been good, but if you can build this positive association for people with the club coming in, hey, I know you can just see Messi, but look, we're here, we exist, we're trying to get on the up and up. Here's some money. Come out and watch a game. Come have a night with the kids. Come
downtown.
Come get some pizza. Actually, don't get some pizza. They were on Footy Scran, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
So bad
that it looked like cold Papa John's pizza.
Mm-hmm.
In a city with amazing pizza, and you did that.
Yep.
You have Chicago deep dish, and you did that.
Yep.
That you should be ashamed of. I don't hate this idea because you're trying to build that positive association. On the other hand, I feel like part of what they've done is kind of diminish themselves in the name of Messi. Like you don't want to like completely, make yourself unserious.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to like do like, hey, we know you're not here to see us. It's fine. We'll give you this. Like I didn't think the phrasing was bad on it. I like the idea, but you got to be real careful with it because I think you come real close to like painting yourself as the Washington Generals here.
Yes. And with the Harlem Globetrotters coming in for their appearance, you just have to make sure that you're not the one getting the confetti bucket thrown over your head.
Yeah, but Miami without Messi and without Jordi Alba, and it's been kind of. So.
Yes. So we're going to protect ourselves against with a discount credit of anywhere from $50 to $250.
It's like you had we got the Harlem Globetrotters to come in. Oh, what did you really get? We got the 2001 76ers without Allen Iverson. Have fun with Eric Snow.
Pars with a point, though. Now that one team has done it, fans will be calling for all teams to do
it. Very possible. Yeah, they will absolutely look at it and go, hey, Chicago gave their people credit. Where's our credit? Also, and this has been my favorite thing about all of this, really, is people still very upset about, and Ricky said, people will be mad. Yes, they will, because they paid hundreds of dollars for tickets. John, have you ever seen the cinematic masterpiece, A Knight's Tale? Heath Ledger?
It has been a while, but yes, it was also one of my father's favorite movies because of how they integrated Queen into the soundtrack.
Yes, how they did. Yeah, it was the opening scene really set the tone beautifully. The best relationship in that movie remains Paul Bettany and what's the actor's name? Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Where Paul Bettany plays Geoffrey Chaucer. And at one point, when Tudyk is losing his money because he's bet on the championships, Bettany tells him, that's why they call it gambling, which is the same thing I say when you buy and sell tickets for hundreds of dollars. That's why it's called gambling.
Yes.
That's why it's not called pay or make a bunch of money with 100% guarantee.
Yes. Guaranteed return. It's gambling. It's not guaranteed.
Yes.
Return. Yes, absolutely.
You're gambling.
Yes, you're gambling.
It sucks. We all wanted to see Messi in Atlanta. We were happy with the result because Atlanta just basically held Miami under the water till the bubble stopped coming up. But I think that was the takeaway from that game was everyone was like, it'd have been nice to see Messi, but God, it felt good to burn them at the stake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like people want to see him play. That's okay.
You'll take full points on the way out the door if you're in a
Hey,
playoff.
Chicago will take full points, and you know what, man? You know who else will take this? Everyone else is going to enjoy the hell out of this because guess what? It looks like Messi might not make it to MLS playoffs because nobody wanted to deal with that chaos in the playoffs. Nobody wanted to deal with like a decaying corpse of a Miami team that suddenly got like, I don't know, the Tony Todd treatment in Candyman and came back and just started wrecking house.
Mm-hmm. See?
Just
yeah.
We're doing the Lord's work keeping Miami out of the playoffs. Unless you're a neutral and you're going for full sickos energy. And if you are, I applaud you.
You just had Four Card spit his coffee, by the way. So you speaking of doing the Lord's work, you are giving spit takes early in the show during kickoff.
You're welcome.
Pars asks, isn't this textbook game logic for honor among thieves? I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but once again, you can be
also,
right.
Also, Tata Martino is like the Bill Belichick of injuries. That man won't tell you anything he doesn't have to.
Stanley Cup
my
playoff.
favorite. Oh man.
Upper
My favorite one remains a regular season game in 2018, I think it was, where we would do Friday morning scrum before the Saturday games at the training ground. You know, do training, and we do it either inside the building if you've been there, or just outside on the little landing. And there was one day where like Tata is always late. Like the man has never been on time. And that's fine. He would just roll up with his mate. Just, you know, the vibes were good. The vibes were always good.
Yeah.
But like he's like going through who's available, and then at one point he cuts off Doug Roberson, and he's like, "Oh yeah, also Greg Garza's out," because this is after Garza had jacked up his shoulder in Minnesota, where it was like 12 degrees. Like Tito scored like the 5th minute on some weird own goal kind of thing, and then LGP got sent off in the 20th minute because he's LGP.
Yes.
And Atlanta like played. I'm assuming people remember this game because it was hilarious because Atlanta played down a man for like 70 minutes. Minnesota put in roughly 70 crosses, and I think like Chris McCann and Michael Parkhurst combined had like 40 clearances in that game. It was something so absurd. Minnesota couldn't connect a cross to save their lives, and it was just basically head tennis with Michael Parkhurst. I'm genuinely concerned Parkey lost memories from the repeated head injuries from that game. But so that game was weird because Greg Garza goes down hurt.
Yep.
He does his shoulder again, which had happened to him before, unfortunately. And it was really weird because like he comes off of the shoulder injury, and the fourth official wouldn't let him back on the field when he was ready to go, the ref wouldn't let him on. The fourth official had him ready. The ref wouldn't wave him back on the field, and we're just losing our minds because it's myself and Craig Carlos Valentino from when we were at 92.9 doing a watch party in Marietta, and after that training session, like later that week, Tata's telling us everything. He's like, "Oh, also Greg did his shoulder. He's out for a while." And like no elaboration. That man does not want to tell you anything. And the one time he will tell you, it's because he's probably going to forget, or he's just going to play it off. That man does not want to say jack squat. Like, if he could, he would release a injury report that just has black lines redacted over everything, like it's a NASA document.
Oh yes, absolutely redacted. And by the way, I found that game. I found that game that you were discussing, and it was 49 crosses on the day by Minnesota United. They only connected on 7 of them. 7 of 49. And by the way, on the day, Atlanta United, 60 clearances. 60. 6-0.
There's nothing Minnesota loves more. If you go back to that game, U.S. Open Cup final, and the game, I think it was 19, where Joseph scored 2 goals late. There's nothing Minnesota loves more than absolutely blue balling themselves against Atlanta United.
Yeah, all I can say is Alvabage. That's what sticks into my head when you mention the early Scandinavian variant for Minnesota United. But yeah, 60 clearances to 5. Atlanta United had 1 completed cross on the day. They had 6 crosses overall. Minnesota United 7 of 49. Atlanta United 1 for 6. And I'm trying to look at any of the other numbers. Long balls were about dead even. And it was, I'm trying to see if there's any other glaring shots. 71% possession, not necessarily a surprise. 13 total shots, 3 of them on target compared to 5 and 2. But yes, 60 clearances on the day, 7 completed crosses and 49 attempts. So that was at TCF in front of an attendance of 18,057. And Chris Penso was the man in the middle for that one. On March the what? It was somewhere, I think it was March of 2018 or something, March 31st of 2018 or something like that. So yes, that was your that was your flashback for Chris McCann, by the way, led Atlanta United with a 7.5 on the day.
Chris McCann, one of the most integral parts to 2018 until it all fell apart in San Jose, but I don't give a damn because that dude just like stepped up and played left back when you needed him to. It was beautiful. It was the one of the weirdest parts of 2018 is Chris McCann, who was not playing as a good central midfielder, which was what he was by trade, playing as like the third string left back and just doing work. Because it's like him and Mikey Ambrose at different times playing outside back and just pulling these performances out of hammer space.
Yes. As a Francisco Calvo own goal in the 3rd minute after LGP picked up a first-minute yellow and then got his second in an off-the-ball foul in the 38th. So basically it was 52 minutes playing down the middle.
Yeah, that's the thing about like that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite memories about LGP is like, oh man, I miss LGP. I'm like, yeah, I do too. I miss like 2018 and 2017 LGP. I don't miss LGP's absolute desire to get completely out of pocket at the worst possible times. I am happy though that he's doing well, River.
Yes.
Went back to Argentina and maybe the game just suits him better down there.
That might be.
Ricky, Minnesota's back line from 17 and 19 was a theoretical construct.
and
dude, that thing was made of like wet toilet paper.
Yes.
Okay, let's go through this real quick, and I know we're way into the weeds.
It's all right.
Adrian Heath survived that, dude. I have no clue how Adrian Heath survived. I don't know how Adrian Heath is surviving now. I don't know if Adrian Heath's going to survive this year. Yeah. They gave that man a contract extension after he got beat by the Murder Owls last summer in U.S. Open Cup.
Correct.
But
yeah,
if they don't make the playoffs this year, you have to fire him, right?
Yeah, you would think.
Because they're dangerous. Like, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine about the Pittsburgh Steelers because he's a big Steelers fan.
Oh, he's got the Tomlin discussion. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, I mean, and look, Tomlin's got rings. Heath does not have rings in Minnesota.
No.
But the idea of you don't want to slip into that, we're okay, but not great. But we're not bad enough to clearly tear it down and rebuild it. But we're not great enough to win hardware.
Yeah, we're average.
I feel like you're slipping into that real damn fast if you're Minnesota.
Yeah. And Bam doing the Lord's work, keeping us up to date on the Asian Champions League matches. Morning Ricky, morning 4-card, morning 5-stripe, morning Michael, morning Pars and Bam and Hutcho, and I think we're caught up. Okay, yeah, so somehow Adrian Heath survived that. Who the hell knows how he'll survive this? All right, now it's opening kickoff, by the way. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code for those of you who are watching on the Facebook, on the Twitch, and on the 280 character app. If you were to use that particular QR code with our friends at Kickoff Coffee, don't forget, use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off of your purchase, and they in turn take 10% reinvested into the youth game. And that is a very cool thing that they do, once again, with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Now, that audio is now out, and we're going to play it. And we are also going to bring the story forward. Jurgen Klopp addressed it this morning, our time. And
Ricky, Minnesota is in 11th place right now and is 3 points out of a playoff spot.
Yes. All right.
They are tied with SKC. Anyway, go ahead, John.
Yes. All right. So I know that you're up against it and you want to try to come back in hour number 2 as we do weekend whip around, possibly get visited by Dylan and await the midweek traditional visit from Bart. Do you want to hear the Klopp sound first or do you want to hear the VAR audio first?
You surprised me. I'm good with either one.
Okay. All right. So here's the audio. So we'll go ahead and do the audio from the game itself. So here's the audio from VAR that was released, and here's what they said to one another, and it ain't pretty. It is not pretty at all.
Oh, good. Both holding. Both holding.
Yeah. Leave it though.
Waiting, delaying.
Yes.
Give it.
Coming back for the offside, mate.
Just checking the offside, delay. Give me kick point. Let's go.
Yep.
Kick point,
Yeah,
please.
no worries,
So here we are.
Thank you. Wait, okay.
Just get a tight angle.
Yeah, give me 2D line ready after as well for frame
Right,
2
so
after that. That's fine.
Frame 2 there.
Perfect.
I've got the time on this. I clocked
2D
it,
line
so.
on left boot.
Yep. Well, let me just
Romero,
switch
I think
angle.
it is.
I think it might be this angle better.
Hey,
Happy with
Okay.
this angle?
you
Yeah.
organise, you don't
Yep. 2D line on the boot.
2D line on the boot.
Yep. Okay.
Wait, no, wait.
So 2D line on the boot.
And
I'll
stop.
zoom
Check
in.
complete. Check complete. It's fine. Perfect.
Yeah. Off. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Wait.
Good process,
The
carry
on-field
on.
decision was offside. Are you happy with this?
Yeah.
Are you happy with this?
Offside
On-field,
decision, goal. Yeah. That's
Now,
what it does.
What?
on-field decision was offside. Are you happy with this
Never
image?
get there. It's fine.
Yeah, it's onside. The image we gave you is
Yeah.
onside.
Left back.
He's played. He's
Yeah.
gone offside.
Out.
Delay.
Out.
Clear.
Ollie's saying to delay.
Plays
Ollie's saying to delay.
Red throw, red throw.
Pardon?
Ollie's calling in to say delay the game to complete. The
Yeah.
decision is offside.
Can't do anything.
Ollie's saying to delay.
Ollie?
Yeah. Yeah, go
Delay
on.
the game. To delay the game. Stop the
Yeah,
game.
but they've restarted
Nothing
the game.
from on the field.
Can't
Yeah,
do
they've
anything.
restarted. Yeah.
Can't do anything.
No.
I can't do anything. I
Right
can't do
back.
anything.
There it is, Jarrett. You released the audio, and that was the conversation that was had amongst these individuals. Referee Simon Hooper, assistants Adrian Holmes and Simon Long. VAR was Darren England. That's who Daz is in the conversation. AVAR is Dan Cook. Your fourth is Michael Oliver. The replay operator did not have their name disclosed. And then the PGMOL hub ops is Ollie, and that's understood to be Ollie Kohout. So what do you think?
I had a professor in college who always said that the problem with communication is the illusion that it occurs. And, buddy, there is some now you see me level illusion with the lack of communication, clear communication. Because I don't. It's one of those things like I talked about yesterday when this came out. Or how are you going to address this? Was it incompetence or was it maliciousness? And frankly, it just sounds like
A misplay. It's lack of a modifier.
this lack of a modifier. It's a lack of clear communication, and just in this instance, it's incompetence. Like, you have to be able to speak clearly, and you can kind of pick up. I think when you listen to it, and you are like listening out for it, like, oh, well, he called offside. Okay, they did all the check. Okay, check complete. Okay, but then when you do that, it's got, and I get you're trying to go super fast and be super efficient with this. But when you go that fast, you're going to make mistakes, and not just like you didn't make a mistake with the line drawing. The line drawing, if you've seen the video, it's really cool how they put the graphic together. I really liked that. Getting to like see how they do that. But okay, check complete. Okay, clarify. Like, hey, check complete. He is onside. What was the call on the field? Okay, call was offside. Okay, He was on. This needs to be a goal. That was 5 seconds of my life I just lost. Great. Over communicate that. Like, I understand they want to go fast as hell. They want to keep the game moving, but look, I don't feel like we suffer too much in MLS by taking a little bit longer. And I get it. We use the monitor. They're not using the monitors consistently.
Yeah.
In other places, hold the game up.
Mm-hmm.
Hold the game up for 10 more
Blanking.
4 AM seconds.
Yeah.
And get it right.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jurgen wants to replay it. You're not going to replay it.
We'll play that sound in a sec.
I know. We'll be here for that. I don't care. I could give a damn about Jurgen's opinions on this. Of course, he's going to want to replay it. I don't blame him for being one. I don't blame him one bit for being mad. But you're not going to replay it.
No.
When are you going to do it? EPL schedule doesn't exactly allow for that, you know?
Mm-mm.
What are you going to do? Play it at the very end of the season?
Yeah. No.
But take a little bit more time. Parcible's right. The video does make it so much worse.
It does.
It just take a bit more time. It's this thing like when you rush that fast and you're trying to go so fast and you're just using half words to communicate, just take another second of, okay, check complete. Check complete. He was onside. What was the call on the field? Okay, call on the field was no goal. He was onside. It's goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you get that, stop the game or, hold the game, that sort of thing. It's like, oh, game's already started.
Yeah, you can't take it back at that point.
That ship has sailed, hit a reef, and sunk, and is now being occupied by a moray eel.
Yeah.
Like, it's done. Yeah, you're right, John. I mean, it's like, it's done. Because you're going too damn fast. You're trying to be so fast to be hyper efficient, and you're going to lose the actual, the consistency and the integrity of it. Not integrity in the cheating sense, but like, the accuracy of it. Mm-hmm. By just rushing it so fast. Yeah, great, cool. I love how quickly they were able to put it together. But then when you do that, just take another second and communicate it. Talk to the official. Talk to the fourth. Make sure you're on the right page. Jesus.
Yep. Possibly seeing you in hour number 2?
Possibly seeing me in hour number 2.
Okay. Bart Keeler joining us in hour number 2. Dylan, we will see. Dylan's a game time decision because of his time with Varsity Media. Yeah. He's on coaches' conference calls. And we've also got midweek whip around to get into in Atlanta previewing Philly. So hopefully see you in hour number 2.
Yeah, and Parcel's right. Specific language on a specific call and response order is needed. Yep. Yeah. Again, absolutely. It's check complete, onside. What was the call on the field? Call was offside. This was a good goal.
Yep.
There you go. 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, check complete, confirm what the call on the field was, because when you listen to the front end of that, also, shout out to that AR, by the way, because I'm ridiculously out of shape. And as Alex can attest to, me slogging up and down a mini pitch the other day as my knee is about to explode.
Uh-huh.
But the fact that he's able to communicate a lot without dying as he's running up and down the field, good on him. But like, you hear him at the beginning, coming back for offside, like he says it, but if you're not listening closely, like, there's no clear, like, the other referee says, the other AR says give it, who's on the other side of the field, whereas the AR who's along the line says it's coming, says for it to come back. Like, there's just this wild miscommunication between the two of them, and yeah, man, it's just, there's so much, and there's so many people talking, so much communication that it's got to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got to take another second, clarify with the official on the field. Hey, what was the call? You gave this as offside? No, he's onside. What was the call? You gave this as a goal? It stands. Call confirmed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Godspeed, 5-stripe dog.
Yes.
I don't think I'll even have mine replaced, but I have to take like 2 days off after I play a game now, because I just feel like my knee's about to fall off.
We got to get you those. We got to get you the
I got to get a new brace.
copper fits. The copper fit hyper ice deal that they've got out now. We got to get
Oh,
you.
it's the same knee I blew up during baseball, but it's also getting old and not working it enough. But
Yes.
that's I'm also not a professional athlete, so I'm not like about to go under the knife and have my knee rebuilt like a robot.
No. All right. So hopefully see you in hour number 2. Maybe.
All right, sounds good.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Thanks, Alex. Also, Alex almost got kicked in the face again.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's because Alex, like, it's not foolishness on Alex's part. It's this bravery where he's like, he sees the game pretty damn fast, and he's like leaning in to head it, and somebody damn near high booted him in the face again.
Man.
So small, fast people, man, you just can't. It's like trying to catch a rodent. I couldn't keep up with him.
It's like trying to grab a comet by the tail or grab water through your fingers. It doesn't quite work.
It's like some of these people out there, man, all these little mini pitches, it's like trying to play whack-a-mole blindfolded.
So Five Stripe is now saying that Alex Pacina is a rodent with a question mark.
Well, I mean, he's just like, Alex is small, but he's so quick and slippery, and he reads the game really well. So, like, Alex is like, so it's like, I'll just head this ball away. Alex has come from 10 feet away and has his head in the way now because he's seen the bounce, and he's just has more determination to get to the ball than the rest of us do.
I'm not participating in this conversation. I'm just letting it go.
1/16th terrier. Cool.
Yes.
I am 1/16th sheepdog just sleeping on the porch.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. Alex also cannot dribble at all.
It's okay, neither can I.
Alex just went third person. So Alex is Gavi, according to 4Card. And so we'll do the hot tag. So Jarrett will leave and Nick will come in. And so Nick, we have played the audio. We've played the official audio, and that, but what I mean by that is not the official audio, but the officials audio, apostrophe S. And your initial thoughts after the officials audio was made public.
It's a masterclass in miscommunication.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have the decision maker who goes very, very quiet, and a bunch of people stuttering and stammering, afraid to make a definitive call. They are not. If you're, to me, it feels like if we remember the movie Aliens.
Oh yeah.
When the platoon goes into the hive, and the Lieutenant Gorman is issuing commands like drop with the flame units and then fall back to, and with the static and the fog of war, the entire message gets lost, right?
Yeah.
It feels like that's exactly what happened here. It is so crazy to me. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Bam. It is so crazy to me that not one of them said, stop the game. Review, it's wrong. Stop the game. That no one said that. And then by the time someone did finally have the stones to say, hey, we should probably stop and review this. Nope, it's been too long. We got to keep moving.
Yep.
I keep going back to the Marines because this is like, where you learn a lot about communication, is that in the fog of war, communication goes to hell. Mm-hmm. It's like one of the try and true principles. Murphy's Law sets in, but this is a disaster class in communication. There's so many things that were preventable here, but I also see a lot of opportunity. Not to sound completely like a corporate shill, there's a lot of opportunity here for easy improvements. One that I would suggest is that if VAR sees something that they need to review, that they hit a button and a big red light goes on in the stadium that everyone can see. The fans, the officials, everyone can see, like, giant Las Vegas light that says, almost like, Psh, is that Stone Cold's music? I mean, like, you got to have
It's
that.
the VAR siren.
Right. I mean, like, just you have to have something that says, okay, stop the game, where the official says, all right, we're stopping the game. We're going to take a look at things. And it to me, it is. Thanks, Bam. I really appreciate that, dude. Thank you. Bam found a broken link on my website, which is actually fantastic feedback. So I will look into that. But the one thing that gets me here is that there was so much opportunity for somebody to step in. There needs to be a public, clear signal sent. There's something wrong. Stop the game. Review.
Yeah,
it's that simple. Or you do like they do in the NFL, where if there's like the manager can challenge, you get one challenge per half. Like, because the manager has people who look right. And so that's the thing. The question Parzival brings up is who's paying for all these lights. Yeah, the TV contract. They got money. Look, they can send signals to the board. It doesn't have to be like one red flashing light. You just run a graphic that says that just clearly flashes up VAR review in progress.
Under review.
Yeah, and that way everybody in the stadium knows, and the official can look up, or a player can notify the official, "Hey, look, man, look at the board. VAR official. Oh, okay. Oh, crap. All right, it's under review." Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best way to do it. You have to make the communication so stupid and so fail-safe that there's no other option. And hold on, what's Alex saying here? Hold on. Alex is trying to bring logic and reason in here.
So Alex says Spurs kicked the ball the second the whistle blew. There was nothing they could do. Let's think big picture. The AR put up his flag for offside. If the fourth official disagrees, say no VAR being used, but the ball is back in play, there's nothing they can do about the error. In the NFL, once the ball is snapped, you can't fix an error.
We've seen before in games where VAR comes back and says, hey, like 30 seconds ago, there was an error. I think that's what we have to do. We have to, you must be able to fix there's too much money riding on this to allow something like, a little bit of gamesmanship. Oop, there's an immediate kick. Aha, sorry. Can't do anything about it. There's too much money on it. And I disagree with the NFL rule as well. Like when the next snap is done, because if there's something that can change the outcome of a game, a bit of gamesmanship shouldn't undo that. There's too much stupid money involved in the game now. It's not it's not 1899. It's not 1910. We have to figure out different ways to deal with this. But
all right. So after that, what has more money riding on it? That VAR or Mahomes sliding at the one? Yeah, exactly. All right. So this morning, our time, Jurgen Klopp was asked about it, and I think it was in their -1 because they are getting ready for Europa League, I believe, and it's their. I think it was it's their -1 as they get ready for their matchup tomorrow afternoon at 3:00. So Jurgen Klopp was asked about it, and shocking no one, he opened another door and basically just kicked it in and set it on fire. So here's his soundbite, courtesy of our friends at Liverpool, their own selves.
Now that you've listened to the audio, you've seen exactly what happened. How's everyone feeling about Saturday?
The audio didn't change it at all. Because I was not really interested in that, why things happened, because I knew I saw the outcome, I saw a goal, we scored, and it didn't count, so I was now not waiting for the audio and then sitting there and hoping I find out how it could happen or whatever. So what I want to say is it's really important that we as big as football is, that we just, and important as football is for us at least, that we really deal with it in a proper way. So, and I mean that all of the people involved, on-field ref, linesman, fourth official, and especially now in this case VAR, they didn't do that on purpose. So, and we should not forget that. Yes, it was a mistake, an obvious mistake, and I think there would have been solutions for it afterwards. If not, and I can say immediately, even probably some people don't want me that to say, but not as a manager of Liverpool so much, more as a football person, I think the outcome should be a replay. That's how it is. Probably will not happen. The argument against that will probably be, if we open that gate, then everybody will ask for it. I think the situation is that unprecedented that it didn't happen before in that moment. And we are all used. I'm 56 years old, and I'm since 50 years in football, and I'm absolutely used. I don't deal always well with it, but I'm used to wrong decisions, difficult decisions, all these kind of things.
So what I think should happen is that the game should be replayed, but I don't want to open that door, but you did. Am I wrong here, Nick? Basically, Jurgen Klopp says, I think that we should replay the match, but I don't want to open that door. Mm-hmm. But you open that door by saying it.
Right.
You know, I don't want to open that door, but you open that door.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, he opened the door. He knows he's not stupid. What he's doing is he is saying, all right, I need you guys screwed us over. So down the road, you know, there may be a day, and this day may never come, that I will call upon you for a favor.
Yeah.
Will you be there for me in my hour of need? That's what essentially he was saying. Mm-hmm. That you guys hosed us out of a game. We better damn well get one on the back end. And so to me, that is that's something where it's smart of him as a manager to say that. This is also a part of the issue with the system as a whole, that we sort of know there's going to be a game where somebody's going to pay for it, right? It's going to be like and it won't be like a Man City or anything. It'll be like somebody like a Crystal Palace or
Burnley. I mean, in the relegation fight, it'll probably be some moment like that.
Right. It'll be something like that where it will be a bit crazy, you know? So I just think that it's a bit absurd that that this is what's, you know, this is what we're working with. I think that's a problem. I'm struggling here to find words to really talk about why this is so stupid. This has been a consistent issue. There's always been an issue with officiating in the sport, mm-hmm. right? There's always been an issue with officiating in the sport.
Right.
VAR is supposed to clean some of this up. It has. However, there are still people who operate this machinery. So we have to expect some level of human error.
Mm-hmm. But this was catastrophic human error.
Oh, of course, it's catastrophic human error. It's catastrophic human error whenever it's one of the top four.
Yeah.
Again, if this was Burnley, if this was Crystal Palace, if this was Brighton, we would not be talking about this on like day 2, day 3.
Yeah.
We would have been like, oh, it sucks for them. Oh, terrible. Oh, man. Okay, moving on. But because it's Liverpool or, you know, United or it's City, you know, like it's, you know, we hear all about it. It's plastered everywhere. Why are we hearing about it? Because it's Liverpool, because of the money. Why would we hear about it if it was United or City or Chelsea or the money? Let's not kid ourselves here. This is, VAR has done a lot to help teams who are getting hosed.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen it where penalties have been issued that were not going to be issued? And it changed the game because VAR came through like it was supposed to. Oh, wait, nope, there was a foul. Like what are we? I mean, it's so absurd to me that this is what we have to deal with. We watch these games. We've seen where VAR has helped teams get justice, and yet we're still sitting here going nuts and complaining about, well, I thought VAR was going to do this. I thought VAR was going to do that. Well, it's human power. It's human powered.
Yeah.
It just is. It's human powered. There's going to be issues. That doesn't mean that we stop process. It doesn't mean we stop process. We have to refine process. And that's where I think we kind of get lost in the sauce is we don't want to, how much refinement is required. That's the big question. I think there's a lot of refinement that has to be done because this is sort of analysis paralysis by committee in this particular situation. I don't think that means that we have to throw the entire system out.
Right.
This is coming from somebody who watches Serie A. I don't want to go back to the days where we have single points of failure. Right. Where an official, is the one point where money can be introduced and calls get magically made up, or a line like the assistant referee has money in their back pocket, and there's going to be something, there's an offside call gets issued or doesn't get called. I mean, Milan made how many pushes to the top because of questionable offsides calls when Pippo Inzaghi was running wild. That's how Calciopoli happened. We don't want a single point of failure, but it's we have to be a bit more patient and looking at a challenge and just saying, okay, dump it. We have to be able to fix a system. We have to. There's and I would say that Alex Pacine has said it best here. Having worked in IT for 20 plus years, I can say that sometimes the only true explanation is that for something is, quote, he goofed. The process is robust. The process was followed. Everything worked as expected. And then at the point of handover, someone just goofed. Darren should have his evaluation reflect his error, but it be like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how he continues, no matter how much you idiot proof something, there's always a new type of idiot to be found. Carve this into stone tablets and pass it out to every organization on earth. There's no such thing as idiot proof. There's, the fastest evolving creature on earth is the idiot. I mean, this is new and inventive ways to screw things up. I don't want to go back to a world without VAR because I have seen what happens firsthand when you have a single point of failure that goes sideways. Mm-hmm. And you lose all faith and trust and integrity of the game to the point where even today in Serie A, something goes sideways and we're still like, oh, ref was bought. VAR was bought. It's hard to buy that many officials. Probably somebody just screwed up, Mm-hmm. And I think that's all this is. It was fear. It sounds to me like fear. It sounds to me like, there was a moment of uncertainty.
Trying to do something quickly for the sake of the event in front of you, And in trying to do it quickly, you didn't do it right.
Right. What was the name? I'm trying to remember the name. I can't believe. And this is Life with ADHD. Who was the American official that everybody loathed? He was. I mean, he really did not like Atlanta United. He's retired now.
Oh, okay. They'll put that for public purview. I'm sure that the name will come up.
Somebody in the Twitch pitch help me out with the name.
Yeah.
The guy's name escapes me.
No, I wish that's true, but that's a universal hatred.
Yeah, that's a universal hatred. I'm talking about in soccer, in MLS.
Yeah.
We had that one official, Geiger. That's it, Mark Geiger. And so Geiger would say in his pregame, he would get all the officials together, and he would say, "Make your calls very clear. Red, red, red." Or foul, foul, foul. Right. Whatever it is, call it very clearly, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need here. Very clear. Red, red, red. Or stop, stop, stop.
Yeah.
And so then the ref just, because here's the thing, the more information you provide sometimes, the more the message gets muddied. Sometimes you just need to have a stop, stop, stop. Okay, hold on. Blow the whistle. Okay, stop. Hand goes up to the ear. Okay, what are we stopping for? All right, the offside call was incorrect. It's at VAR. I review it. Please go check. All right, roger that. And he goes and checks. To me, it's that simple. Very, very clear communication. Stop, stop, stop. Done. Okay, blow the whistle. Now you give me the information. And if people boo and whistle, whatever, they boo and they whistle. But you would avoid a situation like this where it's, should we stop the call? I don't know. It's the VAR call. The flag went up. The flag. Should we stop the? Hey, is Mercury in retrograde right now? I don't know, but my horoscope said. What about the VAR? What about the VAR? What about the offside?
Mars in retrograde. Yeah.
I mean, just stop, stop, stop. Okay, issue command. All right, check VAR. Roger that. We're checking VAR. I mean,
there it is.
If we can execute complex squad movements with people who, of vastly different levels of intellect, there are some people who I was with in the Marines. God bless them. God love them. I am convinced that they were drinking Drano recreationally as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people who are like close to Mensa level. I mean, you have to have clear commands that each party can understand. So it's stop, stop, stop.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we doing? Execute this.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah. Bart Keeler coming up in the near future to give the referee's perspective and reffing down here as a part of all of this. Dylan Butler, once again, game time decision because of his varsity media duties. We still have Weekend Whip Around to get into. We still have Atlanta United and Philly to get into in hour number 2. We still have Champions League to get into in hour number 2. So there is the ish load of stuff. And that is the actual official term. But Nick, since we're getting close to 10 o'clock, I might need your help with something.
Well, here's the thing, John. Yeah. I hate to interrupt you.
Sure.
I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. We had football practice again last night.
Man.
It was, I'm telling you, man, it's like 3 or 4 days a week.
That's what I'm saying.
It's disastrous. So what happens is the kid comes home.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He wants to eat. He wants to watch TV. He wants to do all these things. And then he takes his shoes off. And it smells like rotten corpses. We're in the Halloween season.
Okay.
It smelled like rotten corpses in my house.
Uh-huh.
Like when something crawls in between the walls and dies. That's what my kid's shoes smelled like, John. I don't know what to do. Is there anyone who can help me?
I believe there is, actually. And it's our friends from Eliminize. For odor-free, clean, fresh air, one place you need to go, and it's Eliminize service. Eliminize deodorizes enclosed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos. They've created a customized solution that eliminizes all organic odors, including those like pets, cigarettes, and food. Realtors and property managers use a Lemonize service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. By the way, QR code over my left shoulder for those of you watching on Facebook, on Twitch, and on the 280-character app. Realtors and property managers use it to sell or rent their homes that much faster, and that's a good thing. The turnkey process, once again, Ricky, thank you for telling me what it is. Still don't know what it is. Makes it easy to work with said realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment. I know what that is. It's a very green way of going about things without getting rid of odors without any toxic residue whatsoever. Different than Febreze or our favorite masking agents that you might have under the sink or above you in the cupboard. Because when you reach under the sink or above you in the cupboard, take out that masking agent, spray it in the air. There's a reason it's called a masking agent. It just masks the odor. It doesn't attack the problem all the way down to the molecule, like our friends at a Lemonize service do with their proven scientific formula pricing. Very, very easy. One of two ways, either by the cubic foot or parts per million to come up with a price that's affordable for you, offering results in 24 hours or less. If you have any questions, frequently asked or otherwise, one place you need to go, it's the website. But do us a favor here at SDH. Lemonize.com is the website, but after the .com go /Atlanta so they know what part of the world that you are addressing them from so they can help you with your issues. Try to avoid having a sentence end in a preposition. Full homework assignment, ELIMINIZE.com /Atlanta, Lemonize.com /Atlanta. A Lemonize service, proud sponsors of everything SDH, and they'll get rid of your football funk so you'll have odor-free, clean, fresh air. Just ask them.
That's a huge help, John. Because when you have a teenager in your house and a 6-year-old who likes to build potions out of various things that she finds, I'm just saying, it's just one of those crazy things, man. Just one of those crazy things.
Okay. Yesterday in Champions League, since you are here, let's discuss Champions League from yesterday. And there was a bit of a surprise in Champions League, and it was completely and totally crazy. But actually, tell you what, let's hold because Bart Keeler's now in.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. See, Bart's there, and he's got his coffee, so he's ready.
Look at that background.
I know
that is spectacular.
It is.
Someone in the apartment is talented. It's not me.
It is dream catchery, is what that is.
Yes.
Are those do we have those for sale somewhere? Is there a marketplace for those things?
No, but if you really want one, I can talk to the creator.
I'm just saying.
I've got an in.
Okay. All right. So we have spent the majority of hour number one, Bart, discussing what has gone on. The audio has been officially released of that.
The calamitous calamity of English football?
Yeah, that. And so we played the audio, and then we went through it all. And then Jurgen Klopp, in his -1 as he was getting ready for his Europa League match, basically said he didn't want to open the door, but he opened the door about wanting the match to be replayed. Knowing it's not going to happen, but, I don't want to open that door, but I think the match should be replayed. Yeah.
Well, look, as I said Monday, Liverpool definitely, this goal could have changed the match. I mean, just flat out, it could have. It would have. I don't know if it changes the outcome for sure. But when you look at the final score, it was obviously 2-1, and you consider that they could have had a goal before they scored their other goal, maybe been up 2-1 at halftime. Who knows? The problem here again, though, John, is what in the world were these people communicating about? And this just goes back to, again, where it's like the one thing that the NFL, college football specifically, has gotten very right in their video review is announcing the decision, right? Because that does a couple of things. And I think, soccer needs to adopt this because it forces you to run through the decision in your head as the center referee, right? At very least, you have to practice what you're going to say, right? That's a normal human thing to do. Most of the time, you're going to say that out loud. All 4, 5, 6, 7 other people who are on the same headset with you are going to hear that and have a chance to correct. Because the other problem is, I don't know what any of the words that were said in the process were supposed to mean. And I speak English and work with it on a daily basis. John, you've worked with the English language. I don't know what those words were trying to communicate.
Uh-huh.
So to me, that's a big issue. Is they weren't even speaking to each other, communicating to each other in constructive ways. I mean, check complete. Yeah, we're good. What does that mean? What about, like, again, obviously the VAR thought that the goal was given good because he wasn't paying attention. But yeah, we're good is still not even a totally clear, resolution to if the goal was ruled onside and a good goal.
As I've said, I am the son of an English major. And when you have misplaced modifiers or a lack of a modifier, people are left wondering what in the wide world of sports you're talking about.
That's what I'm just caught up with this is there was no final determination of, and again, it could be as simple as check complete, player was onside. Right?
And trying to get the call done quickly.
Right. And that's the other thing is they rushed this. And so if you have to make the announcement, there wouldn't have been that quick restart of play. Like, look, I am very pro trying to restart play quickly because we don't want to have these things delayed, but it doesn't take long to go, yep, okay, check complete, goal onside, it's a goal or whatever. Player was onside. And then the center ref says, okay, after video review, player was onside, we have a goal. Or maybe if the bad communication happens and he goes, yep, check complete, we're good. And he goes, okay, whatever the hell that's supposed to actually mean. He would have said, check complete, the player was offside, goal disallowed, we're restarting. And then at that point, someone would have been like, wait, no. Like hopefully we would have got the whoa at the time the center referee made his announcement. And maybe that, maybe they don't because, again, the English referees and the English FA and all these people in England think that they know best about everything. But this was not a bad refereeing. This was bad human and interpersonal communication.
When you are in your refereeing purview, how long did it take you to get your style squared away to where everybody who works in a crew with you knows where you're coming from, knows your style, knows how you're going to diagnose things, and how you're going to sit there and address situations? How long did it take you to find your personality when it comes to something like this?
That's a good question, John, because I think for me, the struggle was I kind of had two starts to my refereeing career. I had one where I started when I was 15 years old. And so at that point, I remember that I just wanted to be taken seriously. And so I tried to, have all of my mechanics as polished as possible, make sure that I was being as professional and upright as possible. But then when I started again after playing and going to grad school, 6 or 7 years off, and you come back and you're an actual adult, it does change a little bit. The thing that I've always tried to have is the notion that I can be wrong. And this happens all the time when I go out and referee at like adult leagues and soccer in the streets, or anytime where I'm the solo referee, right? Mm-hmm. Running around with 10 to 14 other people on the field, I'm going to miss calls, and you have to understand that, right? Like it's as simple as like, oh, I thought the ball went out of play off of this person, but because I don't have 2 other ARs with me, and I'm not running to make sure I'm in proper position to make every single out of bounds call, because that would be an insane thing to do, and you'd never be in position to make any other call. You're going to make mistakes, and it's the same thing when you're on the outside. Is be willing to listen to your other referees. Be willing to listen to players. Be willing to take feedback from coaches and tune out parents. That's kind of the process. But because especially people involved with the game inside, and adjacent to the white lines, we're all about trying to accomplish the same thing. We want a good and fair soccer game to be played. And in this particular thing, it was very it just seemed like everyone was so quick to just confirm what they thought. They weren't trying to get the right answer here. That's the concern for me, is that there was just a disregard for what was right, as opposed to just going through the process. I mean, you heard him. Yep, good job, good process, boys. What? No, it was not. What are you doing?
Yes. So now to add to the dance, you see now, and Dylan, by the way, Dylan, rock and roll. Glad you made it out of Varsity Media Coaches Press Conferences alive. By the way, he's sporting his Newcastle gear as a part of this whole thing. See, he's Geordieing out this morning. I know this will shock you, Dylan, but we've spent the majority of the show discussing that audio from that game this past weekend. Bart Keeler from Soccer for US POD comes in traditionally after you, and Bart has time in his busier than hell schedule to be a referee in the local levels, and I always like to get his perspective on things. And Nick is in as well this morning to discuss Serie A and misplaced modifiers and everything. So Dylan Butler now part of a 4-way dance.
Yeah.
It is a 4-way dance here in the Fatal 4-Way when we're discussing that audio, that conversation, misplaced modifiers, what it's like to be an official in these situations when you're having discussions, rhythm, all of these kinds of things. And I almost feel like the Saturday Night Live sketch with when Buckwheat was shot. So, Dylan, did you see the video of when Buckwheat was shot? I feel like that's where we are right now when it comes to this. So, let me get your 2 cents in here to this particular discussion. What have you thought? We played the audio and we played the short version of the Jurgen Klopp quote this morning where he didn't want to open a door, but he opened the door. Yes, I know he's not necessarily calling for a replay of the match, but in all things being equal, then you would have the right result. So, what about the chaos, sir?
Yeah, and I didn't hear your Klopp's comments, but I did hear Pep yesterday, I think, where Pep was saying that the officials need to have more humility. I don't think that's the case here, because you could tell in the panic moments there, they were being humble. They knew that they messed up with a different letter there. So I think from my 2 cents of this whole thing, I apologize if it's similar to what Bart, Nick, or you had said earlier. It's very, very simply about language. Mm-hmm. Like if you just get the right terminologies, you've got so many different talking heads there, and there's players that are in the referee yelling at him as well. Like just get the right language, right? Like check complete goal, check complete offside, like plain as day, right? Like when you have that language, I think it, and I think that's what they're even saying now, right? As well, I think that alleviates any potential problem here, right? And I don't think you need to eliminate VAR. I don't, I'm all about getting it right, and VAR gets it right. I think most of the time, the VAR haters, this is their vehicle, right? Like this is their like mountain to go up and and tear VAR down. I don't think it needs to be torn down. I think you just need very precise language, and then they won't have you won't have these issues.
Nick, language. Nick, it's about language.
It is about language. It is. And I mean, like, let's look at a submarine, for example, right? So you're piloting a submarine. Think of all the complex issues that are going on. You can't just stop the submarine in the middle of the damn water anytime you want to do something. So the command and control structure is very clear. 10 degrees down rudder, 10 degrees down rudder I, and then whoop, they execute, right? So it's the same thing. It's stop VAR check, stop VAR check. Stop VAR check I. All right. What are we looking at? We have this. Check it. Roger that. He goes over to the screen and checks. Mm-hmm. You don't have to give the Gettysburg Address when you're trying to explain over a radio what's going on, because the first thing you have to do is stop the action. Stop the action. VAR check. VAR check good. Let's play on. Okay. No harm, no foul. We play on. But again, like we said earlier, clear command, stop, stop, stop. The ref doesn't need to hear anything else other than stop, stop, stop. The whistle's blown. Okay, explain. This is what happened. You're sure? Yep, have it review. Okay, I'll check. Goes to the thing, VAR review underway. Ref makes the decision, game moves on. But when you listen to the audio of these guys, they are all nervous as hell. They're stuttering, they're stammering, they're not being clear. And then somebody, again, Alex Pacine coming through with a big win. Check complete. Official says, cool, play on, baby. Check complete. You have to issue clear, controlled statements, clear, controlled orders. So that way, everyone on the field knows, shut up and listen. Then one person gets done, next person goes. Because if you start having crosstalk, which is what this is,
yep.
When you have crosstalk, and a lot of those guys sounded very similar, you end up with bits of garbled messaging, which has to be interpreted by a person standing in the middle of a pitch surrounded by 70,000 people. So the commands must be very clear and concise. Then you can take it to a new level. But the clear stop order must be issued without any explanation. Just clear stop. That's it.
John, you and I are in the broadcast world as well. And I don't know about you, but like if I hear conversations in my ear as I'm calling a game, like I want to hear from the director, that's fine, right? But if I then hear the camera guys and hear other guys like, get out of my head. Like, I don't need to hear conversations, right? Like, just tell me, all right, we're going to go to break after this, or, here, this graphic is coming up, right? So like to Nick's point, you don't need to have 7 different voices or whatever amount of voices.
You don't need all call in your.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, just please just give me the guy. If it has to be a second guy, fine. Let's not have all these conversations in my ear.
Okay, so Bart, then let me ask you this. I'll give you the choice. You can either discuss the Pep Guardiola quote, or you can discuss officials taking a 7.5-hour flight and going from England to the UAE 2 days before, and then coming back quickly and having to call and be a VAR and an AVAR in a match. What direction do you want to go?
Let's talk Pep.
All right.
Because I think we talked about the UAE thing on Monday where that was just
all right. So here's
that was a bad idea.
All right. So here's the Pep quote. He says, discussions about the quality of refereeing and the viability of VAR dominated the conversation. Guardiola's been questioned on the topic before the match against RB Leipzig. Quote, they will have to find a system where the main roles are the players in the game itself, in all the countries, not just here. The referees and the VARs are the leading roles, and the Oscar goes to, he said. They have to make a step back. It's the players. Some games, be more humble and leave the players to do what they have to do, and they will be better. I understand completely how upset Liverpool must be in that case. It could be another club, but the bosses of the referees will decide what we have to do, and we will follow them. Everyone knows they made a mistake, and Liverpool suffered the big consequence of that. in this type of game, because of a VAR mistake, Jurgen Klopp wants the Tottenham-Liverpool match to be replayed is so important. That's the Pep quote.
Yeah, I think he's right to an extent. I don't know if that's the problem in this particular case about referees trying to, be the main characters of the match. But I do understand that a lot of referees have that problem for sure, where they do try to insert themselves a little too much in the match.
Andrew Hernandez and Joe West, but that's okay.
Well, the other problem is the balancing act is, as a referee, you do. Because if you're not there, if you're not noticed, if you're not talking to players, if you're not making these calls throughout the match regularly, the players will not behave because Lord knows they barely behave when the referees are there. Mm-hmm. So it is a balancing act of how do we keep things in line with our presence on the field versus how do we dominate the match. And, we've all had that issue where we call it a ref show or something like that. But, the reality is referees are trying to control the match so both teams have a fair chance to play. But I agree with Pep that they do need to understand the reason why they're there, right? We're here to just make the game go as smoothly, as fairly as possible. Clearly, they did not accomplish that goal in this particular situation.
But I don't think it was. And I know you're not saying that part, but I don't think this was like them trying to be the show. I
don't think it was either.
They realized that they had messed up, and all of a sudden they were trying to fix it. Now, the question I have for you guys is, unless I'm mistaken and there's been a change, I've always been of the belief the last couple of years that if you're the assistant referee, you're keeping your flag down regardless, right? Like, it could be off, you're keeping it down, and let's check it and let's look, and then we'll call it offside. Like, this was the opposite, where the flag came in on the good goal. Like, that's...
Yeah, so in this case, the referee, and you could hear early in the audio sequence, the AR and the referee communicate possible offside, and then he says delaying. That's him saying, I'm not putting my flag up. The ball goes in the back of the net. He says, yeah, bringing it back for an offside. So part of this problem is, for me, I think referees in general communicate a little bit too much over their headsets. Here, the very first thing we hear is like, both holding, let it go. And it's just like, I think they're trying to communicate a little too much through that process of just no duh type of stuff. But to your point, Dylan, we're supposed to keep the flag down until the ball goes in the back of the net because we still need a decision. The point is, for that is, once the ball goes in the back of the net, we have a stoppage of play and we can review it. So if I put my flag up because I think the player was offside after the goal is scored, we can review it. If he were to put his flag up immediately when he thought Luis Diaz was offside and Luis Diaz then committed the offside offense, we wouldn't have been able to review any of this. And then, in the halftime show, Tim Howard and company would have discovered, oh, wait, he wasn't offside. What is this? This is a great calamity. So the referee crew on the field did what they were supposed to do, and the fact that they delayed until the goal was scored, then put their flag up. So we had a call on the field to review. The problem, again, was the VAR then said, no, he's onside, but never said he was onside. He just said, I'm good with that, check complete.
Right.
All right.
John, see what happens when I go away for a wedding on the weekend? All hell breaks loose. Holy crap.
Nick, article and a thought by Nick Miller over at The Athletic, discussing this particular event and the philosophical aspect of it. He says, nevertheless, it felt like the extreme end of something that's been around for some time. These things tend to either dance around or directly suggest the idea of the referee as a scapegoat, the focus of collective ire, the vessel of blame into which we pour our irritation, whether it's a specific referee or the more amorphous concept of officiating generally. But while it's instinctive, it's most definitely not healthy in a few different ways. The first is at the human level. It should be fairly obvious that it's not pleasant for huge groups of people to blame a single individual for their frustrations and problems. While a Premier League referee knows what they signed up for and thus expected to take the criticism, it's still odd that it's considered socially acceptable to publicly abuse and blame one person because of a mistake they've made at work Though admittedly, football isn't the only sphere in which this happens. Many of us are guilty of this criticism, abuse, apportioning of blame to one degree or another. Fans, managers, players, pundits, journalists, broadcasters. It's us. We're the problem. Are we the problem? As he thinks about it.
No, we are the problem.
Okay.
I think we are. I think we collectively, and it's not just broadcast and media. I think the fans as well play a role in this, because officials have for a very long time been subject to a lot of the arrows of the media and the fan bases, because they have direct control over the outcome of a game to a certain percentage, right? So within 10, 15%, unless you're Angel Hernandez, and then it jumps to about 50 to 60%, unless you're just that comically poor.
Wow.
But the issue at hand is trust, right? That's the issue at hand. It's trust. We are, and this, I know this is a much bigger conversation. We are in a post-truth era now, from politics to food to, popular culture. Trust is eroding before our very eyes in all facets. And there's this natural pushback against authority. And when you have a pushback against authority with a degradation of trust, you have people who are just willing to rebel and go nuts against anything that even seems like it's in charge. How are these officials supposed to do their damn jobs? You have players who are faster and smarter than ever before. You have more eyeballs on than ever before, and everyone is looking with skeptical eyes. And we in the media are no longer paid to offer clear middle ground, just observant eyeballs with a good voice. We are now paid to issue takes. And as long as that is happening, the trust is going to continue to erode away. And we are the energy and the force that is helping to erode that trust. We collectively. And I think that's part of the issue at hand. I don't know what the future of sport is. It doesn't feel like it's sustainable to me. I've bumped heads with people on social media having this conversation, because social media is accelerating these conversations. It's allowing an organization to develop where people are just bum rushing officials in every aspect of their lives and making it untenable to be an official in this day and age. So yes, it is our fault, short story long, in my opinion.
So Bart, are we the problem?
Well, I think Nick pointed out very clearly that it's cake makers' fault and their ability to make everything look real instead of like cake. So I think that's the issue at hand here. No, I think this was actually something that was discussed on Total Soccer Show last week. They did a listener's question episode, and someone's basically like, a pet peeve of theirs is when media members, pundits say, oh, so-and-so X football club deserved more from this match. And that idea of deserving more or whatever. And it just leaves out it leaves out this idea that sports is all sports are just a bunch of random number occurrences, right? I watched Arsenal last night, or yesterday, not beat Long, who had not a lot of clear chances in front of goal. Arsenal did. The random number gods were not on our side. There were a couple of chances that the goalkeeper saved or hit a player, or, it didn't go in the back of the net for whatever reason. How many times have we sat on this show here and said, so-and-so keeper had the match of their lives against Atlanta United, because apparently only against Atlanta United are goalkeepers good.
Right.
And, or how many times have we watched Red Bulls get away with not playing soccer for 90 minutes, but somehow win a game? Sorry, Dylan. Y'all don't play soccer up there. I know it's hard.
He's just part of it.
But to Nick's point, it's just this idea that things are always supposed, like, we don't look at it from a standpoint of sometimes things just don't go your way. Sometimes, a running back misses a block in a Super Bowl. Sometimes a ball hits the post and it doesn't go on the right side. Sometimes referees, maybe they don't get the call wrong, but they make the call there and they don't make it another place for, whatever circumstances it is. Sometimes they get it wrong. That happens. For every wrong decision that a referee makes, though, in a match, I'm sure that a player makes just as many wrong decisions. But we just don't look at it the same way, because when we can very easily blame a referee for a wrong decision as opposed to a player not playing the correct pass.
You didn't think you'd get into this kind of a philosophical discussion this morning, did you, Dylan?
A quick add to that, I would say, and I think Nick was going there as well. I think it's, I think we as a society are to blame. Yes, I agree. Also because of technology, right? Like we've never had more ability, technology wise, of seeing all these different angles, and it's all live time, right, as well. So the criticism is able to happen right away. Like you think about like 20-30 years ago, a mistake happens in a soccer match, you maybe you don't have the angles, right? And you certainly don't, to follow up on Nick's point as well, you don't have that platform on social media to immediately criticize as well, right? Like where you can be that kind of keyboard tough guy and go after referees, coaches, players, just society as a whole, right? Yeah, like where you've got your whatever characters and they're right there for you to fire away. So yes, I didn't know we would get into this discussion, but I think those are also to blame in these situations.
All right. So what else is on your mind right now with OSDB Sports MLS Soccer, since we're here in the midweek? Because we've got another 35 minutes to talk about what's going on. So Dylan, what's going on in your part of the world? I'll ask.
Yeah, listen, the only thing I'm even thinking about right now is 3:00. Like I'm nervous.
Newcastle and PSG. He's nervous, brother.
I'm constantly looping. Speaking of technology, I'm looping on YouTube the Asprilla hat trick against Barcelona, hoping somehow that inspires the current group of Newcastle players against PSG today. So it's funny. One of my friends texted me, said, I hope you enjoy the Champions League anthem or hearing it today, right? And my response was, I hope I can't hear it.
Yeah.
I hope the noise is that deafening at St. James today that I don't know. Look, we're up against it, but I think as we've seen yesterday from Champions League, man, anything can happen, right? Galatasaray can go to Manchester and get the result. Lens, as you mentioned, right, can shock as well. Braga needs the last kick of the game to beat Union Berlin. So, listen, why not us? Why not the Geordies?
Yes, exactly. So, Bart, as always, thank you for coming on as well. You came on Monday when all this stuff broke. You came on today in your regular slot. So let me see if I can. Dylan_Butler, OSDB Sports, MLSsoccer.com. Bart is having his coffee, and he's going to be watching stuff, I imagine, as well. At Soccer for US.
Well, we might be getting a U.S. men's roster either today or tomorrow, so that's coming up.
Yep. And so that's the idea. And so thanks to the two of you, Nick and I will continue, and we will discuss.
And Nick, Forza Milan today too. All right, let's both get results.
Yes,
sir.
I, listen, in that match specifically, I'm personally just praying for no injuries to American players.
No, it's exactly.
we could have 3 in that match. I just hope they all get out alive.
Yeah, it's going to be like a U5 YMCA game, like a U5 I9 game. Like they go up and they like high five each other. Here, you take the ball now.
There could be several mini goals in that game though today.
Yes,
yes.
Defending is optional at Dortmund, and Lord knows Milan is going to try to score.
Exactly. So we'll be watching 12:45 and 3. And Bart, I know that you will have, when you have roster stuff, you'll be talking about that too. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Nick, hang on, and we'll keep going. Bart, Dylan, thanks again.
Cheers, boys.
Gents.
Nothing like that for them. So we got MLS to talk about. And we've got weekend whip around patent pending trademark coming sooner, hopefully, rather than later. Tonight, Nick, in Philly, it's Atlanta and the Philadelphia Union going at it, and it will be an interesting clash of style, shall we say? We don't know about the status of a couple of key Philadelphia players, and we'll find out sooner. Probably find out an hour ahead of time whether or not Glesnes and Jose Martinez and maybe even Andre Blake will be a part of the discussion for Philly. It could be Joe Bendik. We could be seeing Bendik face. So it will be a very, very interesting sprint for Atlanta United that starts tonight in Chester, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think it's going to be with Philly, especially. It's going to be one of those situations where it's all going to come down to fitness, right? I mean, we know how they play. They do knife fight in a phone booth. They are very much of the opinion that if you don't have the financial resources to, play in a beautiful, fun way, then by all means, feel free to, turn it into, a pig fight. And so it takes energy to do that.
Yeah.
And midweek games do not help with that kind of energy. Yeah. And they've even said that they are exhausted. They are a tired team. Now, how much of that's accurate and how much is gamesmanship? Yeah, we'll see. But Atlanta's going to have to survive first 15 minutes. If Atlanta coughs something up in the first 15 minutes, this game is going to get really dumb really fast. So survive the first 15 minutes. Avoid bouncing back passes, please, in the name of all that is holy.
Well, the horticulturalists in Chester may try to make sure that turf is not the smoothest in the world and is more fit for motocross.
Oh yeah, obviously. Look, I know that a lot of people get mad at that. I really have no problem with using the dark arts as needed. As your defense against the dark arts instructor, you must be prepared at all times to learn how to deal with with those who wish to employ the dark side of the game. And part of the dark arts are with coming the greenskeeping purview. So it is honestly, we've all played this game in suboptimal conditions.
Mm-hmm.
We
know it in suboptimal conditions.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I think Atlanta can win this game. I know that winning up in Philly is always tough, but I do think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I think that's going to be the final score line tonight. I think it'd be 2-2.
All right, so let's ask.
I want him to win, obviously.
All right, so let's ask this gentleman who is actually in Philadelphia about what he thinks. Nick is saying 2-2. Jason, what do you think?
2-2 would be a good result because this is a tough place to get a result. I don't think this team is coming in for a draw. I don't think they're playing for that. I don't think that's in Gonzalo Pineda's DNA. And I'm not saying, Nick, that you're picking a draw. You're saying they're playing for it. But I think that has to be driven home with just the understanding of what this team's identity is. It's very clear. And this is something that, look, it's been a talking point for a long time. I got into it a little bit last night on AST on 92.9 The Game. Like, there's this narrative that has popped up over recent years that Atlanta United doesn't have an identity or lost its identity or whatever. No. It's been very clear from very early in Gonzalo Pineda's tenure with Atlanta United what the identity of his version of Atlanta United is, which isn't all that different than the previous editions. This is a positional play, possession-based team. That's identity. That's how you function in terms of how you structure a team. When you play that way, and you can go all the way through all the great positional play, possession-based teams worldwide, they're not built to play for draws typically because they take risks, because they get numbers forward, because they're aggressive, because everything is built about scoring goals. And playing for draws is what more defensive teams can do a little more comfortably. Jose Mourinho, the master at it. He can build a team to do that. So this team's going to come in to win the game. They're going to come in to be aggressive. They're going to come in to play their game on the ball, knowing that Philadelphia is a team that's very good at taking you out of that identity. You can't let that happen. And the word I kept coming back to, and we've heard this before, and it is the key. Anytime you play a Philadelphia Union team, you know how they're going to play. They're not going to deviate from it. They have a very clear identity as well. You know what they're going to do, and you've got to be brave to play your game against it, because we saw it at Mercedes-Benz Stadium earlier this year. Atlanta played its game, beat Philadelphia. We saw it earlier than that at the Benz this year against the Red Bulls. Atlanta played its game, beat the Red Bulls. We saw it at Red Bull Arena where Atlanta didn't play its game very well, lost to the Red Bulls. You have to be brave against these teams, and you have to know you're going to have a turnover, you're going to have to win the ball back, you're going to have to fight, you're going to have to scrap, you're going to have to claw, you're going to have to get up, all those things that happen in a Philadelphia game. But ultimately, this team's coming in to win, and they feel like in these last 3 games, they can win all 3.
And we don't know, and, understandable if you're any manager during any time of the year, especially as the season goes along. Jim Curtin says, Jose Martinez, Jesus Bueno, Jacob Lesnes, all available for selection against Atlanta United. We just don't know how long that they would be available to play. Also don't know about Andre Blake because his muscles are getting wonky again, and we don't know if it's going to be him or Joe Bendick tonight.
Yeah, Blake was not on the injury report. I haven't heard as much about a concern with Blake. Flock is probably the least likely in terms of the questionable players for Philadelphia. At one point, they were talking about him being out for the year. Blake trained yesterday, according to our inside information, Rich Ransom.
Yes.
Glesnes and Martinez, it sounded like out of the 3, and I'm leaving Blake out of it, leaving the 3 questionable ones on the injury report, it sounded like Glesnes was the most likely. Martinez was next, and Flock was the least. The question for Philly is going to be, do they play a line of 4 in the back, or do they play a line of 5? They've done both. Jim Curtin said yesterday in his media availability that they are built to play a 4-4-2 diamond. That's how they feel most comfortable. That's what they want to do. But having Damian Lowe in the group, and Nathan Harriel has turned into a player who can play as a center back, having those guys gives you the ability at times to play 5. And again, it goes back to identity, right? Like Atlanta United isn't necessarily looking to do that unless there's a personnel issue and they can't get the width that they want. When we saw Atlanta beat Philadelphia, they played with 3 center backs, and they didn't have the wingers at that time. Now they got wingers. Now they got lots of wingers, so they're going to want to play in their 4-3-3. Philly, to close a game out or to play against a team that they worry that might be able to get a lot of numbers forward, they can go to a line of 5, and they're comfortable in doing it. If you get Glesnes back, it's a lot more comfortable with Kai Wagner suspended tonight. Ariel could play over on the left side with Wagner out. Could be Matthew Real, but my guess, Philly's going to want to get some momentum going here. I think they'll be in their 4-4-2. I think it'll be Harriel and either Lowe or Glesnes alongside Elliott on the back line with Bizo on the right.
Nick, for Jason, go for it.
All right, Jason. So with everything that's going on with Philadelphia right now, how close to, from an energy perspective, do you feel that they are to being at full pull? Do you feel like this is a team that can play their normal knife fight in a telephone booth style for all 90, or is this something where they are exhausted, as some people have said that they are, and Atlanta will find opportunities earlier than expected in the game?
Yeah, there's no way they can play full tilt for 90. It's going to be impossible with the stretch that they're on and how banged up they are. And just when you have the conversation coming from Andre Blake, from Jim Curtin, from others about them being tired, they're tired. And because they're not going to want to talk about that unless they're really feeling it. So the question is how they handle that. And that's not easy. That's for a team that plays in this way. It's not easy to play that way without the energy levels being at as close to 100% as you can. I think you're going to have to pick your spots a little bit. And that's why if they do go line of 5, I'm not surprised because of the energy side of it. I am surprised because it's an admission of weakness. If you go to the line of 5 at home against a team that you've beaten at home every time in league play since 2018, if they go to a line of 5, it's absolutely an admission of them not being able to press in the manner that they want to do. And they're going to have to sit back and soak up a little more pressure. Now, they can hit you on the break, and they can hit you on the counter, and they can do that. It's not their MO. So I'm really curious about the first 15 minutes. I want to see what the lineup looks like. I want to see if they're in the line of 5. If they're in the line of 5, my hunch is that they're going to sit back early and try to dial the pressure up as they go. If they go the other way and they start in their 4-4-2 diamond, I think they're going to come out aggressive and try to wreck the game early and then sit. So I'm curious to see what that looks like at the beginning because I think it'll tip their hand. I don't think Jim Curtin has a choice. I think he's going to have to pick one or the other to get something out of tonight. And I just don't know which way he's going to go. I think he wants to go 4-4-2 diamond and wants to go full tilt. I don't think he's going to be able to for 90, though.
Yeah, I think this is I think it's going to be the come out of the gates early when he knows he has the freshest options available, right, across the board. I think, in my opinion, that's what Curtin will do. I think he's going to come out. He's going to try to really get these little knick-knack goals that Philly always seems to find early. And then he's going to throw everyone, including the water boy, behind the line for the second half to try to really kind of kill the game off. I just don't see a way that they're going to try to do anything that involves them having to go full tilt, especially later in the game. I don't see that happening. I think he respects Atlanta's attack a little too much for that.
Yeah, I think either way, he knows he's got to close it out sitting. He's going to have to sit back late because he's just not going to have the legs. And look, this is part of the conversation, and I know Philly's, I guess, trying to pick up the flag and run with it in Major League Soccer about expanding rosters and spending more money and X and Y and Z. And, I'm looking at guys on this team who, Jeremy Raffanello, a guy that, Nick, we saw when Philadelphia Union 2 was in Next Pro against Atlanta. Raffanello is a very good player. 1 appearance, 12 minutes. You've got a really good second team. You've got guys on that team on MLS contracts. Nelson Pierre is another one who I was really impressed with. You've got guys who I would think would be able to slot into this system a lot easier than some other teams have. It's been a conversation, and this is why, big picture, yes, MLS needs to figure out more depth. And I think they need to do that with expanding the ability to use your Next Pro guys. I think that's the key. That's the trick, because that should really suit a team like Philly that is so stylistic and so rigid in what they do. You teach it all the way through. It's easier to slot a guy in there than to slot a guy in to replace Saba or Thiago Almada. It's easier to do it. So I don't know why Philly hasn't done more of it to begin with. I don't know if they don't trust some of the younger players. I'm not sure. I think they should have used it more, and that might have relieved some of the energy levels that they're dealing with right now. It might have helped. So it's going to be fascinating how they go with this, because when they're coming in already admitting this, and go back to the game here in Atlanta. Now, Atlanta played a different shape that time. I don't think they're going to play with 5 in the back or 3 center backs /5. But Philly did start that game that way, and Philly on the road generally has done that at times this year. Not every game, but a lot of games they've played 5. Now, they're at home. I think if they were on the road tonight, Nick, it'd be very easy for them to play line of 5 and sit and pick their spots to try to trap you and force that turnover and go to goal. But I think at home, they're going to feel almost pushed into being more aggressive from the jump. Yeah. And it might hurt them because I don't know if they can play that way as effectively as usual tonight. And when that lull hits, when that energy level drops, might be the 20th minute tonight, might be the 25th, I don't know. That's when Atlanta's got to strike and take advantage.
When you look at the East, it is its standard amount of chaos right now. You've got 2 through 7. Well, let's go 2 through 6, separated by 5 points. Orlando at 54, New England 52, Philly's at 51 in the middle of it. Columbus is at 50, and Atlanta's at 49. Just how, from your perspective, how nuts is it going to be these next couple of weeks with 2 through 6 in the East?
There's going to be a lot of jumbling between it. I think Nashville's too far out of the conversation to get to the top 4. I almost think Orlando is assured of top 4. It's not mathematical yet, but I think they've got the cushion to get there. New England's got the extra game, which is good and bad. I mean, you're playing more games in a shorter period of time. That's not necessarily a good thing. You got to get the results to make it count. Atlanta controls its destiny, though, and this is what it just keeps coming back to with getting Philly and Columbus this week. This is a defining week for this team. It doesn't lock you into what the ceiling can be. It doesn't, because you could learn from these games. Say you draw both. Let's just say you get 2 points out of the 2 and you draw it, because there's been a ton of draws in the Eastern Conference as of late. So you get 2 points. That's disappointing. That doesn't ruin your playoff hopes. It can be a learning opportunity. But I think if you go and do what you're capable of, which is winning tonight against a tired Philadelphia team, Atlanta's absolutely capable of that. And then coming back home and beating Columbus. Those things are very possible. If you do that, the hype train's going to be out of control. And that expectation of what they can do in the postseason is going to be very high. These 2 games over the next 4 days are going to really set the tone of what the rest of 2023 is like for Atlanta. And Atlanta's kind of driving what the rest of that top 6 or 2 through 6 is going to look like in the East, outside of Orlando, who I think is going to be fine to get into the top 4.
Nick, one more for Jason.
All right, where are you guys eating while you're up there, man? I need details.
Man, last night I had a show to do, so I did not get to go do anything fancy. I don't know what Mike's got lined up for lunch today. We're doing a late lunch, so we don't have to rely on the press box food in Chester, because it's actually usually okay. It's probably one of the more average. I did some really good Mexican last night that I ordered in because I love Mexican food. And I got, what was it? It was something that I had never tried before. Essentially kind of like elote, but with French fries. So it was the Mexican mayonnaise that's got that little bit of like lime taste to it. What was the spice? Tajin. So it's kind of like spicy. So that was really good. And I got just, good birria tacos. So that was my simple thing. But I'm not sure what Mike's got lined up for lunch. Usually when Mike's picking the restaurant, it's a good thing.
Woo. There we go.
You are not kidding. Broadcast plans for when you do get to Chester, sir?
Yeah, we're on at 7 o'clock. You can listen on 92.9 The Game. You can listen on the Odyssey app. You can listen on the Atlanta United app. Kickoff at 7:39. If you want to listen to us alongside the TV side of things, you've got to sync it up old school style tonight. You'll be able to listen to us on Saturday for that. And don't forget, Saturday, we are doing our Match Day live show at Reverb. It's later this time. We're going to be at 3 o'clock. So if you come down to the stadium area a little bit later and you want to stop by, weather permitting, and I think it's supposed to be nice this weekend. Weather permitting, we're going to be on the rooftop at Reverb.
Ooh.
So come hang out with us and get ready for Atlanta and Columbus. And I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about from tonight and then a lot more to talk about leading into the Crew game because they got New England tonight, which is going to be a really interesting game to be scoreboard watching.
Yeah, we're going to be scoreboard watching a bunch of different things. Have a good lunch, my friend, and have a good broadcast, and we'll catch up with you on the flip side.
I make no guarantees, but I'll try my best.
There you go. That's Jason. And Jason is going to be enjoying himself in Philly. Hopefully he's going to be having really good food for lunch. And
look, Tony Luke's. Just go hit up Tony Luke's.
Okay. According to our friends at weather.com, Saturday, get this, Saturday is sunny and a high of 67 degrees.
Ooh.
So the rooftop will be very nice. By the way, the low Saturday night, 46.
Give me that.
46 degrees on the low. So very, very cool. Oh, Rich says, no, that's a tourist trap.
Wait, it was not a tourist trap when I was up there several years ago, sir. Has it gone full tourist trap now?
Okay.
I've had several Philadelphia natives who have told me that this is that my selection of Tony Luke's is a quality selection. That this is not like gyms or anything like that.
Okay, I was not aware, but
I am aghast.
Yeah, you are aghast, nay, shocked about this.
Indeed.
All right, hang on just a second.
But I'm not about to.
David Ornstein at The Athletic. Morocco, Spain, and Portugal will host the 2030 World Cup, but the opening 3 matches of the tournament will be played in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay. This is from Ornstein from about 15 minutes ago. A South American bid had been put forward to host the entire tournament to mark the centenary of the very first World Cup, and FIFA said on Wednesday the decision to award Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay the opening games was a part of the tournament's 100th anniversary. All 6 countries will qualify automatically for the tournament, and it will be the first World Cup to be held across 3 continents. The opening ceremony will still take place in Morocco, Portugal, or Spain. Ukraine had joined Spain and Portugal's bid in October last year with the offer to host some group stage matches, but their readiness for a major tournament had been in doubt amid the ongoing war against Russia. So looks like Morocco, Spain, Portugal opening 3 matches in 2030 in South America, Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay. That's from our friend David Ornstein at The Athletic. So interesting piece of news. 6 countries all automatically qualifying, but you can do that with a field the size of the March tournament, the March and April tournament in college basketball, Nick.
I love this. I don't know how it's going to work. That's not for me to figure out, but I love it. I love that they're doing this because it allows it lets smaller nations sort of gang up to handle a massive tournament, right? You don't want to put the entire World Cup just in Portugal.
Right.
Because you're taxing their infrastructure too much. But if you can have a group here, a group there, and then you can have it all sort of, filter through these smaller nations, I'm 100% on board. I'm 100% on board. I want to know more about this because Michael Head does bring up a good point. Does that mean each South American country will host 1 game? That's weird and adds travel. I would like to see how they're going to navigate this.
Yeah, those would probably be like a couple of days early, and they'll be there in that as a part of it. They'll hold the opening ceremony, I'm thinking, do the opening ceremony in Europe while the teams are traveling over. And, we'll see what happens. But to Michael's point, he thinks that the South American sides will have a distinct disadvantage because of that.
Perhaps, yeah. But home field in the World Cup means something.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it where teams that have no business competing end up doing really well because it's their own home turf. Yeah. So I'm on board for this. I'm excited to see something new and different. We're getting to a place with a lot of these tournaments, like the Olympics and the World Cup and Euros and so forth, where
same spots.
It's becoming the same spots over and over again, largely because their infrastructure is built to handle it, and they don't have to go and do what Brazil did, where they create like a 70,000 seat stadium in the middle of a jungle that is now essentially vacant.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about that. Or places in the with the Olympics where they go and they build these huge facilities, and then they fall into a state of disrepair and look like something like a dystopian sci-fi future.
Yeah.
Because there's no use for it. It's been abandoned. I'm for this. I'm up for this. And look, Rich.
Uh-oh. Nick was about to make a point, and then he disappeared.
I was. Okay, I'm back. I'm back again. The food police are coming after me. It would appear that I have put forth a tourist trap for a food recommendation, and that troubles me greatly, John.
Yeah, I know.
I try to away from tourist traps. So that to me is shocking. And it shakes me to my core. And now I'm going to have to go and completely, I have to buy tickets to go to Philly now.
Yeah, you do.
To put feet back on the ground and find these places to go. I feel like I've recommended Sbarro to somebody. And that tears me apart.
Rich doing the public service and doing his Lord's work, Jim's, D'Alessandro's, Angela's, or any other local pizza shop. He does admit that Tony's is the good one, but no Philly person goes there. So that is why
it's still a tourist place, man. It's still a tourist place. I've brought shame upon my family.
Okay. One note from Atlanta United before we get into the other matches before we go. Atlanta United announces Machop Chol underwent successful surgery to repair a hamstring tendon injury and will miss the remainder of the 23 season. It's been fits and starts with Machop, and now you just want him to get healthy with this injury and come back at 100%. And, we got to see how much of a unicorn he is when he's 100% healthy, and obviously just looking to make sure that he comes back to be that full unicorn at full strength when the injury in and of itself is healed. Juice boxes tonight for what is going on in Major League Soccer, and we'll go over and figure out which one's on the free side of Apple TV and which ones are not. 739s in addition to Atlanta and Philadelphia. By the way, Philly is a minus 122 in the juice boxes. CF Montreal hosting Houston, Charlotte hosting Toronto FC, Cincinnati hosting Red Bulls at a minus 116. Red Bulls are a plus 305. Revs and Crew at 730 as a part of that 730 brigade. That's probably another one to have somewhere close. Revs are a plus 138. Your draws a plus 174. Crew's a plus 174, and your draw is a plus 272. 8:30, Austin hosting DC United, must win for Austin. Fire hosting Inter Miami in front of 61,000, who are going to be getting some kind of financial remuneration. Then it is Dallas and Colorado, Nashville and Orlando. Keep an eye on that one as we go. And then you end up with other 839s here quickly. That is the last 839. Nashville's a plus 102. Your draw in Orlando are plus 256 or 7. 1030s, LAFC hosting Minnesota United. Seattle hosting LAG. Vancouver hosting All Caps. All Caps is a plus 358. St. Louis City. Vancouver's minus 152. And your draw is a plus 328. Nick, last thoughts before we go.
I'm going to have to go into seclusion like Yoda at the end of episode 3.
Okay.
Because this is shaking me to my core.
Okay.
About the food recommendation. So anyway, outside of that, everybody enjoyed a game tonight. Don't get too wacky. We're just trying to take the baseball approach, baby. Not too high, not too low. It's one game, and we move on.
Manchester United standing by Erik ten Hag despite their worst start in the season in 37 years. Looking at the Champions League matches, we saw that Dylan's getting ready for his match against PSG later today in the group of deathiest death that you will ever have. 2 matches at 12:45. Antwerp a favorite against Shakhtar Donetsk. Atletico Madrid a big favorite against Feyenoord at a -152. 6 at 3 o'clock. Celtic and Lazio. Jared will be watching that one. Lazio's favorite at a +156 on the road. Red Star at home is a +102 hosting Young Boys. Dortmund slight favorite at home against AC Milan at a +187. Dortmund is a +152. Draws basically a +250. Porto hosting Barca. Barca a -118 on the road. Newcastle is a +142 at St. Mary's hosting PSG at a +195. Manchester City -135 at RB Leipzig. Might take them a while, but RB Leipzig is a +374, and I think that Manchester City will get the engine turned over, and they will be fine. So Nick is going to go and look at his food takes and try to reestablish contact with his food brain. That's going to be what's going on with Nick. Tomorrow, we will discuss everything that happens tonight. Atlanta United and Philly, once again, 7 o'clock pregame, 92.9 the game on the Odyssey app. And you're going to have to listen to it old school, either on the app or over the air, and sync it up to your friends at Apple TV. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Nico Moreno joining us at 10:30 tomorrow to talk stuff. That's the official term. Nick, send us home.
Until next time, everybody, you go and you take care of each other, be nice to each other, and all that other fun stuff. Mucha, mucha. Euro, y'all.
What he said. 9:05 tomorrow morning. We're back. End of the show. That means I get to do this.